Hello, it's Maria here, and today we're going to be drawing and painting fantasy animals. Fantasy creatures, such as dragons or hydras, are an important part of a lot of folk tales, but are still really relevant in pop culture today. If you think about popular mythical creatures, they're all just a combination of different animals that exist in real life. Let's look at a Pegasus, for example. It's a horse with bird wings, and a unicorn is a horse with the horn of a narwhal. A hippogriff is an eagle mixed with the body of a horse, and a griffin is also an eagle but mixed with the body of a lion. A lot of ancient civilizations also combined humans with one or more animals to create guardian or warrior-like figures. You might have heard of the Sphinx from Egyptian mythology or centaurs from Greek mythology. For your project today, you're going to be coming up with your own mythical creature by combining different animals that already exist. Even though the creature itself won't be real, you should still find references for each of the different animals you're going to incorporate. The creature needs to look like it's able to live and breathe and move, which means it has to have some accurate anatomy. For my creature, I'm going to have the body of a cheetah, the arms of an iguana, the head of a snake, and the wings of a bat. Before I actually get to work on my final project, I'm going to make a few different sketches. Whenever you're creating a drawing from your very own concept, you want to work out some different ideas that you might have and then choose the best one from those. You also want to pay attention to the silhouette of your creature. You don't want to have one side way more complicated and busy than the rest. These beginning few sketches are also a good way to choose what kind of pose you want your animal to be in. Don't try to make these sketches look pretty. They're just for you to help figure out and finalize your idea before you make it look pretty in the final. Now that I'm ready to start on the final, as usual, I'm starting off by marking how much space the creature takes up on my page. Then, I'm laying out the pose and putting sticks where all the limbs will be. This entire time, I'm keeping open all my references of all the different animals I'm including in this drawing. Even though I'm only drawing cheetah legs, and not just a regular old cheetah, I still want these legs to look recognizable as cheetah legs. In order to do that, I have to imitate the legs I see in a reference of a real cheetah. I don't want anything to be ambiguous or some awkward in-between of different animals. I want the bat wings to definitely be bat wings, and I want the snake heads to definitely be snake heads. This is why it's so important to have realistic references in front of you even while you're drawing something imaginative. I'm going to be coloring my creature using watercolor. As always with watercolor, I'm starting with my light tones first and doing washes all over the creature. I'm using a wet-on-wet technique so that all the different colors blend together really well. As you're designing your creature, think about what kind of color scheme you want to do for it. If you wanted to, you could keep all the different body parts really mismatched in color, or you could try to do a common theme throughout to kind of unite them. I'm going to be keeping a yellow-brownish theme throughout my entire animal. Even though this animal isn't real, I want to make it seem like it could be real in some fantasy world. So I want to make it look 3D and create that illusion of it being realistic. I'm going to do this by adding shadow to the underside of the body and on the inside of the limbs. If I had a bright light source coming from above, such as the sun, then this is where the shadows would be. Even though I captured the anatomy of a bat wing pretty well, it doesn't really give the full effect unless I try to copy the texture of it too. So using my reference, I'm going to try to make the wings look kind of leathery and thin by copying the colors and shading I see in my reference. You could also use patterns to show what kind of texture is on your animal. When I'm working on the part of my animal that's a cheetah, I use short, jagged brush strokes on the parts that are more fluffy, but keep the pattern pretty flat and smooth on parts that would have shorter or sleeker hair. This then transitions into the pattern of the scales I would have on my snake heads. Instead of using jagged brushstrokes to imitate fur, I instead use lots of little dots to imitate scales. After I add some final touches and some shadows on the ground, my fantasy creature is finished. Now, it's your turn.